What's going on, guys? RapGud Gaming here, and welcome to a new video. Today, we're just going to be talking about some stuff about something that happened in my life a while back. Just because I don't really feel like making any recordings today, and I'm still working on episode 2 of the new Lovely World series. So I just wanted to do this. So, in case you couldn't tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about something that just happened one time, and honestly, it was really never talked about as much again, but I just remembered it, and I was like, why not talk about it? So, yeah, based on the title, I'm going to be talking about the time my grandmother decided to make a scene on New Year's. So, yeah, so I'm going to be sharing all the story, and because why the hell not? I always enjoy sharing personal stories with you guys, and it's always good fun. So let's get started with it. So basically this happened, I'd say, around 4 years ago, maybe. I don't entirely remember. I just remember that it happened at one point. So basically, it was on New Year's, or around New Year's. It was at a New Year's parade in my town. My grandparents came to visit, and so we went to the parade because we figured, why not. So, actually, it wasn't in my town. It was in the town, but it was in the same county as me. It was I'm not gonna say where, but it was part of a town in the Midwest. So basically, yeah. So basically, my grandparents were like, "Hey, you want to come to the parade?" And I said, "You know what? Sure, why not?" So yeah, and basically they do this pretty much every year. It's like that one of those things where like they go around blocks and there's like police cars and fire trucks and that kind of stuff, and they'll give out candy. And then there was fireworks afterwards, which is mainly what I was looking forward to. So basically, we went to the town, and by the time we had gotten there, the parade was almost over. So there was they hadn't even, like, they had basically made it through the whole town by then. That was just near the end of the block. So basically, what happened was we parked the car, and then we went just to the side of the block just to go watch the rest of it. And basically at this time, there was just people walking through. There was like elementary school students with like buckets and that kind of stuff. And so, from what I remember, at one point there were like these 3 teenagers, like I'd say around in high school, maybe 8th grade or maybe freshmen. I don't know. They weren't crazy old, but they weren't young either. They were at minimum probably around like freshmen in high school or something. And there was 3 of them, and when I see them, I thought of like those 3 bullies from The Simpsons. Like, I don't remember what their names were, but like it just kind of made me think of that. And basically, what happened was, so the whole thing. This is basically how the whole thing goes, as far as I remember. As far as I remember, so this is what I do remember. I wasn't entirely paying attention, but at the first part, basically, they were just shouting, "Gimme candy, gimme candy," and of course, like, by the time those people, the parade got there, almost everything was gone because they've handed out already. But, it's one of those parades where they like throw out like candy, pencils, and that kind of stuff, and everything was basically gone at that point. So yeah, and eventually, I remember a police car driving by with like 2 police officers, and again the kids yelled, gimme candy," and finally the officer's like, "All right, here you go," and then just threw a couple pieces of, like, 5 pieces of candy or something in the street. And yeah, basically, and as soon as the candy hit the ground, what am I saying? Those teenagers just decided to take whatever they could and just shoved it in their pockets. And yeah, and basically there were like young children there that were also there, and they didn't get anything. There was nothing left. Everything was gone. So yeah, and yeah, they just took everything. And now normally that wouldn't really bother me as much. In fact, I didn't even, I saw them take it, but I didn't say anything, of course, because, you know, it's New Year's, I don't want to make a scene. But my grandmother, on the other hand, who has very low tolerance for that kind of thing, was just like, okay, fuck this, or something like that. So it was at that point where I wasn't entirely paying attention. I must have looked away for a second, but when I turned around, I saw her in the street yelling at these teenagers, at my grandmother, and she was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you do that? None of the little kids didn't get any candy or some shit. If you want candy, go buy some." And some shit like that, and I don't remember the whole thing, but it was just kind of funny to me, and yeah, all those teens just scattered, like they were out of there in a second. So, yeah, and honestly, and then I don't know whether or not, I don't know if, like, one of them told their parents or if the parents were watching, but one of their moms decided to just come up and like, start yelling at my grandmother, and those two had, like, a Karen argument, as I like to call it, and I wasn't listening to the whole thing, but all I remember was them, just that lady just yelling, like, "He's 14 years old, he doesn't know better," and I'm like, okay, and I didn't say anything, but, like, still, it was just like, okay, so, I feel like you need to get control of your kid, because, like, you got your kid and his friends, probably, or brothers, I don't know, but, like, they're demanding that these people throw out candy, when there's nothing left, and then instead, they choose to just not let anyone else get anything. And, like, instead, and basically, and my grandmother's right, if they want candy, they could go buy some, but I didn't want to make a scene. Unlike my grandmother, who felt the need to make a scene and say something, and yeah, and, you know, and then the lady just left, and we didn't see them again, so that was that, but still, I remember I was like, was that really necessary? And she's like, yeah. So yeah, my grandmother, she's very, she doesn't like it when people do that. She's got very low tolerance for that kind of thing. And I don't know, I guess she just wasn't, she was just not having it at that moment. But although personally, I'm like, you should just don't say anything. It's not our business to say. You know, it's one of the things. She always feels the need to make a scene, and it's really annoying, but it was also pretty funny. So, I don't know. It was more, honestly, honestly, nothing else happened after that. It was, we just had a thing, although I still sometimes bring it up, but, yeah. So, honestly, that was just a one-time thing that happened. I don't even remember the rest of it. But anyways, yeah, so yeah, that's really the whole story about how my grandmother had to make a scene on New Year's. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, then be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know if you want me to talk about more crazy stuff that has happened in my past. I'd love to share more. And until then, I'll see y'all later. Laters.